Hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another episode of Real Housewives of Potomac, and this is season 10, and this is episode 3, and it's called Chin Checked. Child, before we get into this, okay, so I originally thought, and you know, especially with everything that's been going on with Wendy, that my opinion and how I view things was going to be substantially different. And honestly, the more as things transpire, I'm on Wendy's side on this one. Like, I don't know how not to be on Wendy's side on this one. And I was trying really hard to not be, because everything's been going on and the rumors and whatnot, and her kind of giving nice nasty. But the thing is, though, I think with Wendy, like, outside of some of her things she got behind the scenes, are we surprised? So if we're not surprised, what's the problem? It is giving, this is a scheme that was set up to come with us with the BS, because Kay, you look like you're, I know what the problem is with Kay. Kay does not know how to be herself on this show. She is self-producing horribly on this show right now, and this episode kind of exposed her, and I don't even think she realizes that it exposed her the way it did. You look majorly self-produced, and you look like you got your bestie in on it, and she's looking foolish. And Angel, this episode, you were disappointing me. I'm hoping you turn it around as the season transpires. I understand that you want to have your friends back, but blind loyalty is not a friendship. That's called an alliance. That's called pick me. That's called other things that has nothing to do with friendship, but that's not what friendship is. And I just did not like how the end of the event transpired. You basically made Wendy look like not the villain. I was on your side to a certain degree, even though I feel like you're reaching to a certain degree. But this episode, you kind of solidified that you're insecure about your position on the show. And the thing is, I feel like most of us realize that about her because of everything that happened. Because truthfully, and I hate to call a thing, I know we've heard this before, but if it wasn't for that altercation she had that she was a part of 2 seasons ago, would she be a full-time housewife? Probably not. I think it was the network's way of making sure they didn't get themselves into a lawsuit. I'm sorry. I hate to call a thing, but it's giving that. Because yeah, I have a lot of opinions when it comes to this episode, but before we get into the episode, let's talk a little bit about the taglines, and then we'll get into the episode itself. Because since the last time we reviewed this, their taglines have popped up. So I want to get into that a little bit, and then we'll actually get into the episode. The episode was okay. We are starting to see some movement when it comes to the alliances and all of this. But anyway, let's get into the tagline. So first we have Giselle, where she says, when the nest is empty, it's time for naked, grown, and sexy. Rating. Okay, so we're going to do a 1 to 10 rating. I'm going to give it a 6. It's okay. I do like, for once, Giselle didn't do the word on the street thing, because I feel like that was her tagline forever, word on the street, because, you know, she's kind of the busybody, one of the busybodies of the group, and being everybody's business but her own. So I do like that this is a little bit of a change, and it kind of is reflective of her role on the show this season. She's still being messy, but she's basically having to do a double load. She's doing what she normally does on the show while also trying to be like Karen. And because Karen is definitely missed on this show, so they're all working overtime, and I could tell some of the women are working a little too overtime. And Kay, I'm speaking directly to you. But that's kind of what we're getting here. Anyway, so next, we have Wendy's, and I put the high in higher education. I'm gonna separate what we know now. It's a good one. I like this one a lot. Because it's a play on the Happy Eddie. And honestly, it's kind of a triple entendre because the way her mugshot, I didn't want to do it, but the way her mugshot was mugshotting, I'm not trying to make fun of her, but she definitely looked like she was under the influence of the Happy Eddie in that mugshot also. So, yeah, that one is good to me. I'm going to give that a solid 9. I think she did a good job with that one. I'm trying to separate it all, but it's kind of hard not to. Stacy, some believe the lies, but still I rise. That to me, I'm sorry, maybe I'm biased, that's a 10. I love it. And even the way she delivers it, it's perfect because it's very Stacy of her. Next, Kay. Beauty is my business, but getting you together is my specialty. This episode was applicable because she did try to get some people together. Really, the only person she got together was Angel, and that was kind of wild to me. I was like, wow. But I think, honestly, if we're looking outside, looking in, I think Angel and Kay have a pact where they're trying to stay friends. They don't want the show to ruin their friendship, but I feel like we can already tell that it is. Because if only one of you are allowed to stand on business but not the other, that's a problem. Okay, that's a problem in itself. And so I am going to give that one an 8 because it's applicable, at least especially this episode. And plus, outside of the episode, it is a good tagline. And then this is Tia's. You can only clutch pearls if you have them. And darling, I have loads. Tia. And we saw this episode where British English and American English, sometimes the translations don't translate. And was she thinking that when she did this tagline? Or did one of the producers give her this tagline? I'm voting that the producers gave this tagline because this is not giving Real Housewives teas what you're saying right here. I know you think you're giving Housewives teas. This is giving browsers. This is more browsers. Especially what a pearl necklace can possibly mean. I'm going to leave it there. Anyway, didn't mean to get X-rated this early in the video. Okay, and then Angel's is Hell Have No Fury Like an Angel Scorn. It's cute. I like it. I don't love it. I'm gonna give it a 6. Oh, and Tia's, I'm gonna give it a 6 also. Actually, I kind of want to give it a 5. If this was Real Housewives of Triple X, maybe that would be like a 10, but it's not an adult movie. Anyway, and then Ashley's, last but not least, hers is this cherry blossom is ready for her second bloom. It's all right. I give it a 5. Honestly, Stacy's was the best. It was that simple. Anyway, let's get into the episode now. All right, so let's start off with this episode here. So we start off where we do like one of those little housewives montages where we see that Ashley is in a spin class and she's basically saying now that she's in this new chapter of her life, you know, yada, yada, yada. Honestly, I had no idea what she said. But this was the only solo scene that we had with Ashley. Ashley, truthfully, is giving friend of when it comes to this show right now. She has nothing going on. Like for Ashley, it's just like once the divorce happened, her story ended. She has no business still being on the show. But anyway, moving on. And then from there, we get from Ashley to Stacy, and Stacy's is the first scene of the show. And we see Stacy with her daughter, Arnabella. Um, and it looks like they're practicing for a pageant of some sort. Because maybe she wants her daughter to perform and basically work in pageants. So I think that's kind of what we're getting here. Hold on. Y'all ain't ish. Why didn't any of y'all tell me I had something in my teeth? I got it out, but I'm like, why didn't none of y'all tell me that? Anyway, moving on. So back to Stacy. Stacy and her daughter, they're basically practicing the pageant wave. They have one of the former pageant contestants. I don't know if she won or not. I wasn't really paying attention, where she's doing all this and she's doing that with her daughter, and she's basically trying to explain to us. And then she has her ex-husband FaceTimed in there while he basically watches their daughter practice. And Stacy's basically like, yeah, my daughter's smart. We haven't really been talking to her as much as far as letting her know everything that's going on, but I think she could tell that things are not completely over between us, and we're just playing it by ear, basically. And then AJ was also in this scene. So that's kind of what happened here. And then the first scene where we had some mean potatoes, let's get to it. So then the next scene, it looks like this was at the harbor in Baltimore. And I'm familiar with the harbor area because I've been over there before. It was definitely that area, but I'm not 100% sure. But it seems like that's where they were at. Kay and Wendy, they meet outside to talk. Wendy looks amazing per usual. And Kay, in her confessional, she's basically saying that she feels like Wendy is a TV friend and not really her friend in real life. And I kind of got that vibe from the beginning, no offense. And we kind of got remnants of it last season. To me, it was giving that Kay was a little bit more closer, or really was developed more of a friendship with Giselle from day one. And we already know Giselle and Wendy don't really like each other for real. They basically are being cordial because of the show. So to me, why are we surprised? So yes, I agree with Kay to this degree. But the problem is with Kay, girl, with love, you do way too much. And your expectations for people, it's not realistic. It's giving very delusional. And the emotional maturity, which, side note, it cracked me up in this episode where, I know I'm skipping ahead a little bit, where Angel was trying to lecture Wendy about being emotionally mature, but your best friend over there, she's not giving emotionally mature. At all. We'll get into that when we get into it. And then Kay and her confessional looks, child, it really is giving beautiful gowns, in the words of Aretha. Another fellow Aries. But how does Kay go from looking her looks are cracking me up this episode. The third one with that all black, ooh, you ate it down. But the first one is given Coming to America, barking like a dog. It's given that. It goes from that to then Rush Hour. I'm just like, Kay, what is your inspiration with all your looks? The looks are cute though. I ain't gonna hold you because she's beautiful, gorgeous woman, and somehow it works for her. But it's just like her themes are kind of all over the place, and it's cracking me up. Anyway, so then we find out that there is a Black Eyed Susan event, and basically what this is basically the Kentucky Derby for Maryland, essentially. And both of them are hosting events. And Kay, to me, is projecting. So Wendy's like, yeah, no, I put all the things together for the event. And then because they're basically co-leading an event. And you already know how this is going to go, especially if the two they're hosting together are not getting along. This is kind of what we're getting a little bit here. So Kay was like, okay, whatever, you got it. But then when we look at this episode and how things transpire, is like, was Wendy wrong? Basically, spoiler again, ahead of myself a little bit here. Kay basically had an event before the event, and Wendy's was the event. So Wendy didn't really lie here. She wasn't really, that was the truth. Okay. And then they go from there to like talking about how like she feels like Wendy is not showing up for her as a friend as she would like. And Wendy in her confessional shades her properly, because honestly, with Love Kay, I don't know what you expect out of our friendship, but like and I think part of the issue is that we're not seeing that. Hopefully we get later on in the season as this progresses, is that Kay, you don't have any kids, number one. Number two, you don't have a family. You're a single woman. So your expectations of what you want out of a friendship with someone with young children and a family is not going to be the same expectations what they're going to give to you. And Wendy basically said that as such in her confessional. She's like, what she wants out of a friendship is what I can't provide as a grown-ass woman. I'm just like, that part. And honestly, maybe because I kind of gravitate more towards like a Wendy vibe, where I don't want my friends to be bothering me regularly, because that actually kind of annoys me. Most of my friends, we have like a very good, and maybe part of it is, and I don't know if any of y'all knows this about me, but let me spill a little bit of my tea. Most of my super, super close friends that, especially in this time of my life, are either ambivert or they're introverted. I have no extroverted friends really. Like that I'm like really, really close to, because extrovertedness is just too much for me. And honestly, my mom is pretty extroverted, and same thing with my aunt, the one I'm named after. And it's a lot for me. It's a lot. It's too much. And so when it comes to my friendships, I don't respond well to too much, just in general. But with like my ambivert and introverted friends, it works perfect. It works great, because we're adults. We got stuff to do. I ain't got time to be all up in your business and all that. But anyway, so as basically Kay is still trying to explain herself about what she needs from Wendy, and Wendy is like, the way I show up for you is not what I like either. Like, because Wendy basically, lets her know, like, well, I don't think you show up for me in the best way either. And number one, what I've learned in this episode, Kay cannot take criticism at all, number one. Number two, Wendy has some valid points. Like, I don't expect all that when it comes, like, you're doing a whole lot. And you're coming off as a lot. And I would be turned off by that too. I don't want to be around someone who comes off as a lot. I have enough drama in my own life. I don't need my friends to give me more drama. That's just me. And so as Kay is still trying to explain this and basically reaching for an issue, Wendy just straight up laughs at her face, and I'm just kind of like, child. I wasn't mad at it. I hate that I wasn't mad at it, but I'm just like, what else are you supposed to do? Because this woman is coming off sounding really delusional. And maybe more was said that was edited out, and I may need to get some clarity on that. But from what I'm seeing on my screen, girl, you're reaching for an issue. And Wendy is at the point where she's like, oh, you want me to be your plot line so bad because you don't want to talk about what you really got going on, which is a bunch of nothing, and you still are trying to hang on to a dude who don't really want you. That's sorry. And see, this is why I need to take a break from watching these shows. I know I'm fine. I'm coming off more and more shady as I'm watching these shows. Or maybe it's the red hair. I know when my hair is red, I'm a little bit more feisty. Anyway, moving on. So then the next scene, we have Angel with her family at the breakfast. And we find out that Angel's mom passed away years and years ago. And they're just kind of just talking about that a little bit. And then from there, they Angel kind of reacts to the aftermath of her event, and Kay saying the chin check comment. And According to Angel, she's basically stating she doesn't believe that Kay said this. And I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. We later find out that after Kay admitted to saying it at the party, she reaches out to Angel afterwards to say she didn't say that. Which, side note, doesn't that sound suspicious that they're actually talking? They did that behind the scenes. So what else was talked about behind the scenes? We'll get to it when we get to it, but like, hopefully y'all are getting what I'm seeing here. And but Angel says, but if she really did say that, it's going to be a whole entire problem. Because she felt disrespected. And man, Angel, I was hoping you would come with this energy. Did it last? You're getting a hint that it did not. Anyway, moving on. So the next we see that Stacy meets up with Jazzy. Hey girl, hey! For those who don't realize, Jazzy was a friend of last season and she's back as a friend of again, and they meet up for lunch. And we find out, and we kind of already figured this out during the reunion, but Jazzy and Stacy got really, really close because of what happened in Miami. And for those who don't remember or didn't watch last season, Mia, who used to be on the show, she basically threw a birthday party after the season was over with and invited some of the girls only to ghost them. And they basically formed a bond out of her doing that shady stuff, and it came up during the reunion. And that was one of the many reasons why Mia ended up walking out the reunion set, because she felt confronted. But really, she was getting called out for her BS. Anyway, but we find out that they're closer as friends. Stacy then updates Jazzy to let her know, like, yeah, me and my ex-husband, we're fully divorced, but we are seeing each other again, so we're trying to work things out. And Jazzy, of course, is like, yeah, I love that for you. You know, plenty of people do that. And they kind of get into that a little bit more because of the girls' reactions to it all. Also, we do talk about Jazzy's wedding. So I think this season we are going to see Jazzy's wedding. But basically, we do find out, though, that Jazzy will be at the Black Eyed Susan event. She won't be at Kay's event, but she'll be at the main event. Even though all the women got invited, including her. And what was confusing, they talk about this a little bit, and we'll get back to the Giselle of it all. Kay and Wendy both sent them invites for the same event, because the way it's sounding is that what the missing interpretation of it all is, this is technically supposed to be all one event, according to Kay. In Kay's point of view, this is all one big event, and so they're co-hosting it. But from Wendy's point of view, the pre-event is one event, and then the main event is her event. So you see where the shadiness is coming from. And honestly, we haven't seen the other part of the event yet for us to judge if that's really a fact or not. But so far, it's giving Kay's event was Kay's event. But we'll see next week, because we didn't get to the event for next week yet. I mean, we didn't get to the other part of the event yet. Basically, they talk about that a little bit. And then Stacy vents about the ladies and about how none of the ladies believe that she's divorced. And they are all perplexed about her having, or is still seeing her ex-husband after the divorce of it all. It's just like, number one, Ashley, it took you 10 years to get divorced. So stop it. That's number one. Number two, Giselle, we were literally on TV seeing, if we were to believe this relationship was real, weren't you seeing Pastor Bryant on the show after y'all got divorced? Okay. And even Jazzy mentioned, she's like, my parents filed for divorce, and then they end up being married for like 60 more years. And I'm like, it happens all the time. It's one of the most common things ever. How many times my mom has, throughout the years, not in recent years, but like earlier years in the marriage where she threatened to leave my dad and then she left him for a little bit and then they got back together. It is a very common thing. It's like, this is like, that's called a relationship. It's called hard work, you know? So Stacey's perplexed by that. She's like, you know, all these like Giselle and Ashley especially are just coming down hard on me on this and doesn't make any sense. And she's like, for Giselle to be having a whole entire man on the side that we're not even talking about. And we see that Stacey dug up some tea and saw that Giselle has a whole entire man that she's been seeing that we'll know nothing about. So it doesn't come back up in this episode, but I'm assuming it will soon. So we're getting some Easter eggs, if we will. Anyway, that's kind of what happens from there. And apparently the guy that Giselle's seeing is Sean Springs, who's a former NFL player, which I believe it. Anyway, next. All right, so next we see Tia with her children, and they seem exhausting. Her kids are a lot. They have a lot of personality, and there's a lot going on there. And so then from there, because basically, Tia, you can tell she's about to leave to probably film, and so she's going to be gone. And so she's trying to set some ground rules for her kids, like, hey, you're going to have somebody over. You can have somebody over, but you can't have, like, people over. You know, basically parenting. And so then her and her husband, I forgot her husband's name already, but they go outside to talk more about her trying to balance, you know, she's trying to balance her work life. I think she's still trying to figure that out. And that might be more a part of her story arc this season. But then we also talk about how her and her husband's parenting style is not quite the same. And basically, it sounds like from what I'm getting, both of them want the same thing out of their kids. They both want to discipline the children, but the disciplining style is giving he's a good cop, she's a bad cop, because he just says word salad and nothing changes, but then she's going to do the extra stuff that'll make them change their behavior, according to her. So that's kind of all that we get from this particular scene. Moving on. So then next, we see that Giselle and Tia, they meet to go dress shopping. And this dress shop is given Giselle. And Tia, I like what you did there. So basically, Giselle tried to get on Tia for what she had on at the yoga event. And basically, Tia was like, with love, Giselle, you can't dress. So don't talk to me about not dressing. But you could tell it wasn't in a way where it was offensive. It was just like this light fun shade. And then Angel meets them there next. And Angel is thinking that they have fun at her event. And they're like, no, girl, we did not have fun. And it's like, Giselle. Ugh. And then Wendy shows up afterwards. And Wendy is looking good, like she always does. Ugh, man, Godiva. And potentially a scamming Godiva. I'm sorry, it's just there. It's the fruit was low hanging. Anyway, so basically we find out from Giselle that she's like, yeah, that wasn't fun, but what I have as an idea for fun is we're gonna host a Caribbean trip. So they're going to an island. I think it begins Nastar. They're going down to that island for a girls' trip. And so we saw previews from next episode. They're going to be going to the Bahamas. Not the Bahamas. Wow, that's another Caribbean island. It's not the same island. Nastar. So they're going down there and they're going to have them a good trip. And she's like, yeah, she basically says she's going to be Captain Save-A-Ho. I was like, okay, Giselle. Okay. And Giselle, of course, not the one who shies away from tooting her own horn. She was like, you know, the last cast trip that was really, really fun was my trip to New Orleans. That was the last time we really had fun. I was just like, the Panama trip was fun. I did enjoy last season when they were in Panama. That was one of the more fun trips that they've had. Maybe not for them, but for me as a watcher, I enjoyed that Panama trip. But I hope they could go somewhere that's like not on this hemisphere. Because I feel like the Ladies of Potomac are giving my budget. And I don't really want to watch, but child, I was going to say what I was going to say. But I keep forgetting that Wendy was trying not to do that, but she was allegedly doing some funny things to not. shocked, to be honest with you, when it comes to the Wendy of it. I still can't believe 2025 is not real. Like, none of this is real. This is a Matrix. Like, where's Mr. Anderson? Like, anyway. So then, after that, Angel asked Wendy how she feel. How did the conversation with Kay go? And Wendy's like, if she perpetually wants to have an issue with me, that's on her. I'm not going to continue this. And I will say this. This is going to be me giving you some bail, Kay. If someone had an issue with me, if I had an issue with someone and they just would refuse to acknowledge the issue that I have with them, and just made it where it's about me and me only, I would feel away. But with love, in this case, it is giving that. But I would feel away too, because it does come off as it comes off as very elitist. So that's why I said I can literally see both sides of this. But I'm still siding with Wendy on it when it comes to this, though. Anyway. And then from there, they talk about, Giselle mentions how Giselle asked, Angel's like, well, how do you feel about Kay and her saying she chin checked you? And Angel's like, well, no. Kay says she didn't say that. And they're like, what are you talking about? They're like, no, we met up afterwards and she said that we didn't say that. And all the women kind of have this look like, the same look that I gave earlier on. I'm like, oh, self-producing. Kay is giving self-producing really, really hard this season. And it's like, it's not good. It's not cute. And so Giselle was like, wait, so then she doubled back instead of doubling down? I'm like, and everyone's like, yeah. And of course, Angel's like, I'm going to believe my friend. I'm going to believe my friend. I wonder, fast forward when we get to the reunion and all that, and as the season progresses, I wonder how this is going to look later, because with love, Angel, you are looking wild in this episode. I was kind of like, dang, I wanted to like you too, only for you to turn around and do something crazy. Like, I get y'all want to hold on to your friendship, but be real. Y'all both are coming off really fake. It's not really, y'all coming off fake. Y'all are coming off fake. And it was called out in this episode that they were coming off fake. And sorry, the people who called it out weren't wrong. This is coming off really fake. Anyway, moving on. So then next, we are at Kay's event, and the event is at her new condo, and Greg is there. And I'm like, why is he here? And then she basically tries to give this story of like, yeah, he's going to try, like the way he shows up is supporting me. It's not the way I want it, but it works. And I'm just like, girl. So to me, it feels like this energy that you have for Wendy, you really need to put that over there. Because you are looking crazy right now. And so also behind the scenes, her mom is there too. And can I be honest with you? This is no tea, no shade. I feel like Kay's mom would be more interesting as a housewife than Kay. Because her mom gives that energy and gives more of a personality than Kay does to me. And she gives more of a secure woman. Kay, in this whole entire scene and interaction, especially with her mom being there, she is giving little girl energy. And I hate that for her. Especially seeing that she's a boss. But you could be a boss and be emotionally immature and come off as a little girl. And to me, that is what I'm seeing from her. And I just don't like it. But anyway, first to arrive there was Stacy, which was interesting because we already know they're not getting along. And Stacy, being shady, was asking like, "So wait, so does he live in the home with you, or does he not live in the home?" And he's like, "No, I don't live in the home. Like, I'm just here a lot, like, cause like she's my girlfriend." And because Stacy was confused, like, "Oh, so you guys are back together?" And as all of us are, because we don't understand how they're still together. Like, we don't, yeah. Stacey was asking the questions that the people wanted to know. And then Ashley arrives. Giselle arrives with a lack of fashion. And I will give Kay this. Calling Giselle out in your confessional, because you weren't going to do that in person, was funny to me. Oh, by the way, side note. So when back to the scene where Kay and Wendy were going back and forth, and Kay was trying to find an issue. She brought up the moment where Wendy was talking to Giselle and she interrupted the conversation and was upset that Wendy wasn't paying attention to her, but yet she literally came and interrupted the whole entire conversation. And then Kay's excuse is like, "Well, you don't even like Giselle. You don't even like her. You don't even like her." Okay, true, but you still were interrupting a conversation. That would be so weird. I'm like, "Oh, hey, Kay, how are you doing?" That makes no sense, Kay. Okay? But I just had to call that out because this is not the last time that Kay likes to do this "you don't like her" thing. And oh, the other thing I need to call out, because Kay and her aggression, because I'm sorry, I know I don't like to use that word, but she is coming off as very passive aggressive. And then there's moments where she is very just angsty. I'm not going to say aggressive. Angsty. That's the word we'll use, because I hate using aggression and I don't like the connotation of it all. But it is giving that, because why would you use the term chin check? Anyway, so then the other thing that I forgot about earlier on was when the ladies were talking to Angel at the dress shop about this. Angel had this energy of like, well, if she really said that, there's going to be a whole entire problem. And also, too, why is she coming with this energy knowing what happened to her 2 years ago? I was like, Angel, you done messed up. You done messed up. So that was Angel's fault for doing that. She could have kept that to herself. And so, of course, the women are going to use this later on, which they did. So, but yeah, I don't know. Kay and Angel, I think there's a friendship. I think there's an alliance. There's an alliance, and they're basically have this understanding that they are not going to let these girls come between them. Because respectfully, I think Kay needs Angel. I don't think Angel needs Kay. Just keep that in mind. Anyway, moving on. Okay, and so Tia shows up next, Wendy shows up next, and then Angel shows up. Angel, them titties were tittying, and Giselle made a comment about, Giselle made a comment about Angel's titties, but it was like, didn't she just say in the previous scene that she is still breastfeeding? Okay, her boobs were a little bit more full at this moment. It was pretty obvious to me that's what it was, and she probably did not necessarily plan accordingly to pump, because they were looking, but I mean, who cares? Anyway, so then everyone sits down. Kay is at one head of the table. Wendy's at the other head of the table because, again, they're supposed to be hosting. And I think it was Stacey who asked a valid question. It's like, well, it's a little confusing about these events. So whose event is this? Is this Kay's event or is this Wendy's event? And Kay says this passive aggressive tone of like, well, Wendy likes to be first, best is this, that, and this, and so we just let it do what it do. And Wendy's like, you are coming off really strong, really wanting to have an issue with me. And then of course they start going back and forth. And as they're going back and forth, Kay abruptly just stops. And Tia, I think in her confession, one who calls it out, she's like, yeah, her mom gave this look, and then she just stopped going back and forth with Wendy. And Kay, with love, that's not a good look as a housewife. Your mom, really the real person who chin checked everyone this episode was Kay's mama. Kay's mama was the one who chin checked everyone. It was none of these other women. It was actually Kay's mama who chin checked everyone. I would say her and Stacey. Stacey chin checked also towards the end, but we'll get to that when we get to it. But so they stopped, and then Giselle switches the conversation really quick. She's like, well, you said, so Angel, you know, Kay, you mentioned that you didn't say the chin check comment to Angel, and you definitely did. And Kay was like, yeah, okay, if I said that, you know, again, I am sorry. I did say it. I'm sorry. So now she went back to saying that she did say it. After she said that she didn't say it, now she's back to saying she did say it. And Angel's like, okay, that's fine, no worries. And Wendy calls out right away. She's like, wait a minute. That's not the energy that you had at the dress shop if she said it. You could tell that Angel was not happy about Wendy calling this out. But the thing is, it wasn't just Wendy calling it out. Giselle called it out. Stacey, Tia, all the girls were just like, yeah, you did not have that energy. And Ashley, I was like, girl, shut up. You weren't there. I'm so glad. You know what? Honestly, this episode, Ashley didn't need to be there. Ashley was forgettable this episode. And I forgot she wasn't even at the dress shop. But she's saying all this stuff as if she was at the dress shop and she wasn't even there. So I was like, Ashley, shut up. You weren't even there. And they're basically calling Angel out for not matching her energy. And then Kay deflects and she's like, well, you know, we're friends and, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, if you feel a certain way about it, sorry. But respectfully, if you're talking to these women about what we talked about, you better not do that again. And I was like, and again, Angel just took it as basically Kay, she didn't chin check her, but she checked her. She definitely checked her in front of the women at the table. And I was like, Angel, you still are coming off like phony. And, you know, they're just like, and that's kind of what the women were saying. And Wendy said it too. She's like, yeah, you're coming off a little phony because you said you're going to come off with this energy one way and now you're not. And Angel was like, well, I don't appreciate you, like Wendy, doing this, that, and this, and because then out of nowhere, Kay was like, do you even like Wendy? Do you even like Wendy? Angel, do you even like Wendy? And then Wendy's like, wait a minute. So how do you all of a sudden not like me? I don't even know you. Which is true. They don't know each other. We kind of had a little bit of an Easter egg that this was going to happen because we showed, Giselle mentioned about them both going to college, but they weren't in the same class. They were like 3 grades. Like, I believe, one was 06, the other one was 09, something like that. So upperclassmen versus freshmen, and if they're in a large university and they don't even have the same majors, they're not going to necessarily run into each other. So they don't even know each other for real. But so all of a sudden now, Angel went from trying to address her issues with Kay to now she has an issue with Wendy, and Wendy was like, well, why do you have a problem with me? I'm just calling out what I saw. And Giselle had, you know, Wendy's back. She's like, yeah, because I agree with Wendy. Like, you are coming off one way, but then you're not. And then basically, Angel shut down at this moment. And I was like, wow. So to me, what I'm getting from this is that there is definitely an alliance and understanding that they have. And honestly, it's actually coming off more fake because of this versus if there was an emotional maturity there, it would come off more genuine. But Kay is not emotionally mature. And I could tell she's not. At least from watching this, she's not. And she's also not likable. This is letting me know that this could really be Kay's last season, honestly. And I think she's actually hampering Angel in this group already. And it's only been 3 episodes in and you're already hampering her. Anyway. And so basically, Angel just, I don't know, this really bothered me this episode because I just wasn't expecting that. And I was like, that's lame. Because then Angel kind of, again, puts her energy to Wendy. She's like, well, there's emotional maturity involved here. You know, at the moment when when this was expressed to me, my feeling like I was hurt and now I wasn't. Which made no sense because it happened 2 days ago. And you were still mad from 2 days ago. And then now when you see her in person, you're not mad anymore. We already know that's not what it is. What it really is, they're going to check each other behind the scenes and they're not going to let any of us see it. That's kind of what I'm getting from it, but that's not really genuine. And it is what it is. Anyway. So then out of nowhere, Greg comes in and he starts handing out money to Kay. Because, you know, they're going to the horse track and, you know, they're a bet and stuff because it's basically, again, their version of Kentucky Derby. And I'm just kind of just annoyed because I was like, ill. Because Greg even is coming off as rehearsed and not the way he was last season. The way he was last season was who he really was. This season, it seems like everyone that is in Kay's camp was like, don't you humiliate me again, make me look good. That's kind of what I'm getting from this. And it just came off like, wow, you guys are very much self-producing. And it just was kind of like, ill. Everyone was just very like, okay, this is odd. Anyway, so then they end up going to the Sprinter van. And then this is where the things really start to pop off. So then now it seems like this is the beginning of Wendy's event. Because it seems like she's the one who had the Sprinter van. So they had the champagne. They're like, let's go and have some fun. Woo! Doing that whole entire thing. And then Giselle was like, so, Angel, are you okay? Like, you seem upset. And Angel's like, I'm not upset, I'm mad. And I'm just like, doesn't that mean the same thing? Isn't that synonym? Like, it's a synonym. Synonym. There we go. It's a synonym. Words are hard sometimes. But it's like, yo, that means literally the same thing. And she's like, I'm not mad at Wendy. I was mad at you, Wendy, but I'm kind of mad at the whole situation. And from what I'm getting is Angel was not ready for this group. And then Kay tries to give this speech as if she's a veteran of this group. It's like, girl, sit down. Sit down. And side note, it was never addressed about what Angel said, what she said. Because she said it first, but she's not going to be the only one that says it. When it comes to like, you know, for you to be acting this aggressive, you know, that's crazy because what happened to you 2 years ago. Well, then out of nowhere, Stacey kind of calls out Kay for just being like really, really just fake and kind of phony. Which is funny because Kay is trying to say that Wendy's fake and phony, but this episode, that's all I saw was that Kay is fake and phony. I guess that was the conclusion. The conclusion of this episode is this made me realize Kay is actually one who's fake and phony, and she's basically projecting. Everything that she's been saying about some of these women, she's projecting. Like, why are you so bothered by Stacey? Stacey is pretty much harmless. But maybe because she outshined you after being on the show for a little bit. And then she basically tried to call Stacey out for still using like the QVC voice. And Stacey's like, you were coming off really strong for what happened to you a couple years ago. So she basically said the same thing. And then Ashley, of all people, which I'm like, girl, shut up. Oh, y'all can tell that's my new thing to say now. But she's trying to say, like, that's really low of Stacey to be mentioning that event that happened to Kay. That's really, really low. Didn't you do that last season, Ashley? And wasn't it your friend who caused that to happen? Ashley, if you don't go away from me with this, I'm just over Ashley. But the conclusion is we're seeing the alliance form. Wendy and Stacey clearly have each other's back. And I think they're developing a friendship out of this because they had each other's back. Giselle, even her being her shady ways, she is coming across as more neutral than she would normally be. Ashley is not neutral at all. She don't like Stacey, so anything that's a Stacey thing, she's not really with it. Kay and then Angel, that's their own group. And Tia is just kind of there at this moment. That's kind of what we're getting right now at this moment. And Jazzy, maybe we'll see her at the event. I thought, honestly, earlier on while I was watching this, I thought she was going to be at Kay's event, but it turns out, I guess she's going to be at this event instead. But anyway, that does conclude this episode. Let me know what you guys think of the episode in the comments below. Yeah, it's getting good so far, and I'm looking forward to them already going on a cast trip. That's good. That's very, very good. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. I will see you next time. Bye.